Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless Official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sienna Bacall could no longer hide behind her fierce composure or the mask of defiance she'd worn since everything began to spiral out of control. The truth had been eating away at her, clawing at the inside of her chest like a trapped animal desperate to be freed. The weight of the lies, the guilt of what she'd done, and the fear of what would happen next, all of it had become too much. So when Matt Clark stormed into their apartment, eyes blazing with fury and suspicion, demanding answers about where she'd been and why she'd been avoiding him, Sienna broke. Her trembling hands gripped the edge of the table as if it could somehow anchor her to this moment, but her voice cracked before she could even form the words. "Matt, please, you have to listen to me," she whispered, her voice raw and uneven. He didn't want to hear excuses, not after everything that had happened. He wanted control, he wanted the truth, but he wasn't ready for the truth Sienna was about to unleash. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might explode as she looked at him, the man she had once thought she could trust, the man whose very presence now filled her with dread and regret. The silence between them stretched painfully long until Sienna finally broke it with a confession that shattered every illusion still standing between them. "Matt. I'm pregnant," she choked out, tears spilling down her cheeks. But before he could even process the word pregnant, before he could even begin to wrap his head around what that meant, she dropped the real bombshell, "And it's not yours, it's Noah's." For a moment, the world seemed to stop spinning. Matt froze, his expression flickering between disbelief, rage, and something darker, something dangerous. "What did you just say?" he asked, his voice low and trembling with fury. Sienna took a step back, shaking her head, sobbing uncontrollably now. "I didn't mean for it to happen, Matt. I swear I didn't. I tried to fight it, I tried to stay away from him, but everything was falling apart, and you were already so different. You weren't the man I thought you were." Matt's jaw tightened, his fists clenching at his sides. "You slept with Noah Newman," he spat, his voice cutting through the air like a knife. "You betrayed me with him?" The accusation sent chills down Sienna's spine, but she couldn't deny it any longer. The truth had come out, and there was no taking it back now. "It wasn't supposed to happen," she cried, collapsing into a nearby chair, her body shaking. "It was one night, just one night after the accident, when everything was falling apart. He was kind to me, he listened, he made me feel like I wasn't going crazy. And now I'm carrying his child." Matt's face twisted with disgust and shock. He ran his hands through his hair, pacing back and forth like a caged predator. "You're lying," he said finally, his voice hollow and cold. "You're trying to manipulate me. You always do this when you're scared." But deep down, he knew she wasn't lying. Sienna's tears were real, her trembling was real, and the look in her eyes, the raw terror and heartbreak, wasn't something she could fake. Still, he didn't want to believe it. "You're carrying his baby?" he repeated, his voice breaking this time. "You're telling me that while you were pretending to love me, you were already sleeping with him?" Sienna shook her head violently. "No, Matt. I loved you. I still love you, or at least, I did before you became this person. But everything changed after the crash, after Mitch died, after you." She stopped herself, realizing what she was about to say, but Matt's sharp glare told her it was too late. "After I what?" he demanded. "Go on, Sienna, say it. After I what?" His voice was filled with accusation, but Sienna just cried harder. "After you started keeping secrets. After you stopped being you," she said weakly. "I don't even know who you are anymore, Matt. I tried to be there for you, I tried to make it work, but you kept pushing me away. And when I found out I was pregnant, I couldn't hide it anymore. I couldn't lie to myself, or to you." Matt's fury only intensified. He slammed his hand against the wall, making Sienna flinch. "You think this justifies what you did? You think you can play the victim after betraying me?" he roared. "You're carrying Noah's baby, Noah Newman's. Do you have any idea what that means? Do you know what you've done? His voice echoed through the room, but Sienna didn't back down. I know exactly what I've done, she said through her tears. And I know it's wrong. But you're not innocent, Matt. You've been lying to everyone about who you really are. You've been hiding behind Mitch's name, living his life, pretending to be something you're not. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay when it wasn't. That stopped him cold. His eyes narrowed, his breathing heavy, and for a brief second, fear flickered across his face. You don't know what you're talking about, he said darkly, stepping closer to her. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. But Sienna had reached her breaking point. No, Matt, she said, her voice trembling but firm. I know exactly what I'm getting into. I know that the man standing in front of me isn't who he says he is. And now, because of everything that's happened, I'm carrying Noah's baby, and I have no idea what to do. She broke down completely, covering her face with her hands as she sobbed uncontrollably. I didn't want this. I didn't want to hurt anyone. But I can't keep living this lie anymore. Matt's mind raced with fury, confusion, and jealousy. The thought of Sienna carrying another man's child, Noah's child, made his blood boil. Every muscle in his body tensed as he tried to process the reality of what she'd just confessed. He had spent months manipulating people, playing his role perfectly, making everyone believe he was Mitch Bacall. But now, everything he'd built was crumbling right in front of him because of one night between Sienna and Noah Newman. You've ruined everything, he hissed, his eyes burning with rage. Do you have any idea what this will do to me? To us? Sienna looked up at him through her tears. There is no us anymore, Matt, she said softly, her voice barely audible. You've been living a lie, and now I'm paying the price for it. Noah doesn't even know yet. I haven't told him. I wanted to tell you first because you deserve to know, even after everything. The sincerity in her voice momentarily disarmed him, but only for a second. Don't you dare make this sound noble, he snapped. You've humiliated me. You've destroyed the one thing I had left. He turned away, his breathing ragged, gripping the back of a chair as if trying to steady himself. Sienna slowly rose to her feet, her hands still shaking. I'm sorry, Matt, she said softly. I never meant for any of this to happen. I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. But this baby, it's innocent. It didn't ask to be part of this chaos. Her voice cracked again, but she pressed on. I need to do the right thing now. I can't keep hiding, and I can't keep lying. Noah deserves to know the truth, even if it destroys everything. Matt turned to face her again, his expression dark and unreadable. You tell him, and you'll regret it, he warned, his voice low and menacing. You think you can just walk away from me after this? After everything I've done for you? No, Sienna. You don't get to ruin my life and walk away. The threat hung heavy in the air, making Sienna's blood run cold. But even through her fear, she stood her ground. You don't own me, Matt, she said firmly. And you can't threaten me into silence anymore. I'm done living in fear. Her bravery only seemed to infuriate him further. You think Noah will want you when he finds out? Matt sneered. You think he'll accept you after everything you've done? You're fooling yourself. He'll walk away, and you'll be left with nothing. Sienna's tears fell harder, but she didn't back down. Maybe he will, she whispered. Maybe he'll hate me. But at least I'll finally be free. Matt's fury gave way to a chilling calm, the kind that made Sienna's stomach twist in dread. You think you can just tell him and everything will be fine, he said quietly. But you have no idea what's coming. You have no idea what kind of mess you've made. He stepped closer, his face inches from hers. If you tell Noah, Sienna, you're not just destroying me, you're destroying yourself. Sienna wiped her tears and looked him dead in the eyes. Then so be it, she said, her voice trembling but resolute. Because I can't live like this anymore. And with that, she grabbed her coat and turned toward the door, her heart pounding in her chest. Matt didn't try to stop her this time, he just stood there, watching as the woman he thought he controlled walked out of his life carrying another man's child. Once outside, Sienna broke down completely. The cold night air hit her like a slap, and she stumbled to the curb, clutching her stomach. Her tears fell freely now as she whispered, "I'm sorry," to the tiny life growing inside her. She didn't know how she was going to face Noah, or how she would survive the storm that was surely coming, but she knew one thing for sure, she couldn't go back. Matt Clark's world was built on lies, and she was finally done being part of it. Back inside, Matt's expression darkened. He knew this wasn't over. He couldn't let her destroy him, not after everything he'd sacrificed to become Mitch Bacall, not after all the secrets he'd buried. If Sienna told Noah the truth, it would unravel everything. And so, as he poured himself a drink and stared out the window, a dangerous glint flashed in his eyes. If she wants to play this game, he muttered under his breath, then she'd better be ready for the consequences. Little did Sienna know, her confession had just set off a chain reaction that would change everything, for her, for Noah, and for everyone who thought they knew the truth about Mitch Bacall. The storm was coming, and when it hit, no one in Genoa City would be left untouched. Sienna didn't remember how she drove from the apartment to Noah's house that night. The city lights blurred through her tears as she gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. Every breath felt like a struggle between panic and resolve. The world outside was quiet, but inside her, chaos reigned. Matt's threat still echoed in her head, "If you tell him, you'll regret it." But there was no turning back now. She had made her choice. For once in her life, she had to face the truth, no matter how painful it was. As she pulled up outside Noah Newman's place, the soft glow of his porch light seemed to beckon her forward. It was late, close to midnight, and every logical voice in her mind screamed at her to wait, to turn around, to think it through. But logic had no place in her heart anymore. The truth was burning inside her, and if she didn't release it, it would destroy her. She hesitated on the doorstep, her hand hovering over the doorbell. For a long moment, she just stood there, trying to catch her breath. Then she pressed it. The sound felt louder than it should have, echoing in the stillness of the night. A few seconds later, the door opened, and there he was. Noah stood barefoot in jeans and a gray t-shirt, his hair tousled, his expression soft but startled. "Sienna," he said, his voice full of confusion and concern. "What are you doing here?" It's really late." The sight of him nearly broke her all over again. His eyes were so kind, so unguarded, and she knew that what she was about to say would change everything between them. "I needed to see you," she whispered. "Can I come in?" Noah hesitated for a moment, then nodded, stepping aside to let her in. She walked past him, the familiar scent of his cologne triggering a rush of memories, laughter in the dim light of his apartment, whispered secrets, the one night they'd shared that changed everything. It had been supposed to mean nothing. A mistake. A comfort in a moment of weakness. But now it meant everything. Noah closed the door behind them and turned to face her. "You're shaking," he said softly, stepping closer. "What's wrong?" His concern undid her. Tears welled up in her eyes again as she tried to speak. "Noah, there's something I have to tell you," she said, her voice trembling. He frowned slightly, his heart already sensing the gravity of what was coming. "Okay," he said carefully. "Whatever it is, just tell me." Sienna took a deep breath, forcing herself to meet his eyes. "That night we were together," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "It wasn't just a mistake. It wasn't just something that went away." Noah's brows furrowed in confusion. "Sienna, what are you saying?" he asked, his tone gentler now. She closed her eyes for a second, then said it, the words she had been holding back for weeks. "I'm pregnant." Noah blinked, stunned into silence. For a few seconds, he just stared at her, as if trying to process what he'd heard. Then he finally spoke, his voice barely audible. "You're pregnant?" She nodded, her tears spilling freely now. "Yes. And it's yours, Noah. You're the father." The air between them seemed to thicken, heavy and electric. Noah took a step back, his mind spinning. Mine, he repeated, shaking his head as if trying to clear it. Wait, how, are you sure? His tone wasn't angry, just shocked, and that almost made it worse. Sienna nodded again, her voice cracking. I've taken 3 tests. I've been to the doctor. There's no doubt. It's yours. Noah ran a hand through his hair, pacing the living room. Oh my God, he whispered. This can't be happening. He wasn't yelling or blaming her, he was just stunned, reeling from the sudden crash of reality. Sienna, how long have you known? She swallowed hard. A few weeks, she admitted. I didn't want to believe it at first. I kept telling myself it was impossible. But it's real. And I told Matt tonight. He knows. At that, Noah froze. His head snapped up, his eyes wide with disbelief. You told Matt before you told me? His voice was sharp now, edged with hurt. Sienna, why would you do that? She shook her head, sobbing. Because I had to. He would have found out, and I couldn't keep lying to him. But I was terrified, Noah. You know how he gets. He's not the man everyone thinks he is. There's something dark about him, something that scares me. Noah's confusion deepened. What are you talking about? He asked, stepping closer. What do you mean he's not the man everyone thinks he is? But Sienna didn't answer that part. Not yet. She wasn't ready to expose Matt's full secret, not tonight. She focused on what mattered now. I didn't come here to talk about him, she said, wiping her tears. I came to tell you the truth because you deserve to know. You're going to be a father, Noah. The words hit him like a tidal wave. Father. It didn't seem real. He sat down on the couch, his head in his hands. I don't even know what to say, he murmured. This changes everything. Sienna sat across from him, her heart breaking as she watched him struggle. I know, she said softly. I don't expect anything from you. I don't want to trap you or ruin your life. I just couldn't keep lying. Noah lifted his head, meeting her tearful gaze. Sienna, this isn't about trapping me, he said gently. You have every right to tell me. I need to wrap my head around this. He stood up again, pacing the room. Matt's going to lose it, he muttered. You said he already knows? Sienna nodded, fear flashing in her eyes. Yes. And he didn't take it well. He threatened me, Noah. He said if I told you, I'd regret it. That's why I came straight here. I'm scared. That changed everything. Noah's expression hardened, protective instinct kicking in. He threatened you, he repeated, his voice low and dangerous. What exactly did he say? Sienna shook her head quickly. It doesn't matter, she said, even though her trembling hands told another story. I just needed to get away before things got worse. I needed to be somewhere safe. Noah took a deep breath, his mind racing. You did the right thing, he said firmly. You're safe here. He's not coming near you again. He walked over and knelt beside her, gently taking her hands in his. Listen to me, Sienna. Whatever happens next, you're not alone. We'll figure this out together, okay? That simple reassurance undid her completely. She threw her arms around him, sobbing into his shoulder. I'm so sorry, Noah, she cried. I never wanted any of this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you. He held her tightly, closing his eyes. I know, he whispered. But what's done is done. We'll deal with it. For a long moment, they just held each other, two broken people bound by a single secret that would soon shake their entire world. But outside, in the shadows, someone was watching. A dark figure stood near the edge of the property, his jaw clenched, his eyes glinting in the dim light. Matt. He had followed her. From the moment Sienna left the apartment, Matt had known she was going to Noah. He had watched from his car as she knocked on his door and was led inside. And now, seeing them together, seeing Noah's arm around her, something inside him snapped. His rage burned hotter than ever before. He felt betrayed, humiliated, and dangerously out of control. She's not getting away with this, he thought bitterly. Neither of them are. Inside, Sienna was finally beginning to calm down. Noah made her some tea, though neither of them drank it. They sat together on the couch, their voices low, their hands brushing occasionally as they talked through the impossible situation. "I'll go with you to the doctor," Noah said quietly. "We'll figure out the next steps. I want to be there for you, for both of you." His sincerity brought fresh tears to her eyes. "You don't have to do that," she said softly. "You don't owe me anything." But Noah shook his head. "It's not about owing you. This is my child too, Sienna. I'm not running away from that." Before she could respond, there was a sudden noise from outside, a faint creak, like a step on the porch. Noah's expression changed immediately, alert and tense. "Stay here," he said, standing up. He moved toward the front door, peering through the side window. At first, he saw nothing. Just shadows and the dim glow of the porch light. But then he noticed it, the faint glint of metal near the fence. His stomach dropped. Someone was out there. He turned back to Sienna. "Lock the door behind me," he said quickly. "I'm going to check it out." But Sienna's eyes widened with fear. "Noah, don't, what if it's him?" she whispered. Noah's expression hardened. "Then he's about to find out he picked the wrong house to mess with." He grabbed his phone and stepped outside. The night air was cold and silent. Noah scanned the darkness, his pulse pounding in his ears. "Matt," he shouted. "If that's you, show yourself." There was no answer, just the faint rustling of leaves. He took a few cautious steps forward, his eyes narrowing. "I know you're out here," he said firmly. "You don't scare me." From the shadow.